great game. Oklahoma City beats the Celtics. And Seth, Mo, this is game 5 of a winning streak that is extremely impressive. They beat the best team in the league. They beat the best team in the West, and they beat the defending champs all in the last 5 games.
When you said they beat the best team in the league, do you mean themselves?
By record. I
was just being cheesy.
But I mean, look.
You could say that's every time the Celtics lose, they've beaten the best team in the league because they beat themselves.
I want to start by just saying, a lot of the conversation about the Thunder has been about what they need to add, and like we definitely feel they need to add some pieces. But are they finals contenders today? I mean, they certainly are playing like it. They're the 2 seed in the West. They've been on this run. They've got a All-NBA first team guard who, Seth, I know you're going to have to go and update those tiers. And Chet Holmgren is at least top 30, I think, as a rookie, which is kind of crazy. I mean, he has been really, really good for them.
I would top 50, maybe top 30. We start to
we split hairs between 30 and 50. You know how this
it matters.
There's 40 guys in my top 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So are they contenders now?
So I know they beat Denver this week and they beat Minnesota, but I think those are 2 teams they probably have to go through at least one of them, maybe both. And while the Celtics are a very good team, I think the Celtics are, from a matchup standpoint, a better matchup for them than either of those teams. And obviously Denver in particular, just because nobody has anyone who can handle Jokic, but they really don't have anyone. They don't even have like the tricksy let's try this matchup for Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, they even tried 2 possessions of zone tonight, and this was against the Celtics, and gave up 5 points, and I don't think they played zone the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I think it was that quick where they're like, yep, nope, that's not for us. And I think that's an important aspect of it. I think you know what? I'm now going to kind of say, yeah, they are contenders. And I think it's more just along the lines of, I don't know if they can beat Denver or Minnesota in a playoff setting, 7-game series. They're very young. The size issue that we're going to discuss ad nauseum from here until the trade deadline, and then they don't answer it. If they don't answer it all the way to the playoffs, I think is one of those things. But it's something that kind of Seth has said in our group chat that kind of has been floating in my brain for a while, just talking about the number of flawed teams that have made it to the finals is more than one.
Yeah,
And I think it's one of those things where if things break right, there's no reason to think they can't be. I think they need to add more pieces, but what they have now is pretty damn good. Like when you talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was the best player on the court any moment he stepped on the floor tonight, and he torched this team. It didn't matter who was in front of him. He made Drew Holiday look slow. He blew by Derek White. He blew by Jaylen Brown. I don't know if Tatum ended up on him.
Tatum at the end, I thought, did a pretty good job in the fourth against Shai.
But like he was just smoking these guys over and over again. And then you add in the fact, so that pulls in just on the clip where Chet hits that big 3. His penetration has been so strong that Porzingis has to kind of be at the nail to show help after the pick and roll, and then Shai kicks it to Chet for a wide open 3 in that pick and pop. And I think that's just kind of the stuff that they're becoming very difficult to defend as a team.
And the guy that kind of gets lost in the shuffle here, and not that he's not good, but J-Dub, Jalen Williams is been the secret to their success, because when Tatum slid over on Shai, they started working the ball against Peyton Pritchard, who was stuck guarding Jalen Williams. Now, I don't love the execution down the stretch. It's very isolation heavy. It was, they were trying to force a switch to get Shai the ball, and I think they got out of their offense, which, I mean, when they've got the ball moving, this offense is fantastic. I would rather see that.
They went to prevent offense.
Read
the X's and O's on
that.
Prevent offense.
And so I don't love that, but what a luxury to have that, Shai is being guarded by this guy who's 6'8", and Shai does kind of struggle a little bit with size. And you get to give it to this other big guard who can handle and who can attack and do stuff. They've got the good core pieces. I think that they've got some moves to make on the margins. They're not a perfect team, but nobody is, as Mo just pointed out. But they can play with anyone who's going to play small at any level. They can play with anybody. It's once you go big. And so one of the things we talk about all the time is, what is their curveball? Okay. So they don't have the small ball curveball, and they don't have anyone on the roster to help them play big, with Chet being able to play the 4. And I can even see defensively him being monstrous next to another rim protector. So what's their curveball? Because every team, if you're going to be a contender, you have to have a curveball. It's okay if they don't have one.
No, it's a great question, and right now it's somewhere between putting Williams on the ball, or just constant like Shea, Chet, ghost screen pick and pops basically. Which that's Boston's best play too. So it's not with kind of very similar personnel. So it's not a bad place to go, but it's sort of all out of the same group. I don't think they don't really have a group they can flex to that presents a wholly different look.
Yeah, I think when you're asking for the curveball, I don't know if they even need it right now. Their fastball and splitter is killing, and in the playoffs, it'll be interesting in that sense. But this is a very difficult team to guard. Even after J-Dub, Giddey shot the 3 ball pretty well tonight. And then I think, then you have guys like Lou Dort, and you have other pieces there that they can kind of start to work through. Micic looked really good. Like, they have a lot of stuff in there in their back pocket of like, you only need the curveball when they can hit the fastball. Right now, I'm not convinced anybody can really stop the fastball yet. And I'm not saying nobody can or whatnot. Like, we'll see. Playoffs changes everything.
Yeah, Josh Giddey's going to get put in a blender in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to sit down. I mean, the Celtics tried that tonight. Right. They started out the game with Porzingis on him, and his job was to help. First off, the Celtics did a terrible job of that. If you're going to do that, then Porzingis has to take control of the paint. Instead, he was kind of like halfway in, halfway out, which led to drives for Shea and Williams. And then Giddey started knocking down some threes, and then it became a bigger issue. It's one or the other in that sense. But the second thing for the Thunder in that aspect is it all comes down to him making shots. This is one of the reasons, we'll find out how valuable he is come trade deadline. I don't know if they make a move. I don't know. Maybe they want to see how they go through this playoffs and then make a decision afterwards. But I mean, there might not be a guy out there that really moves them.
Yeah. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith is the I think the dream candidate, right? If they could get him for not much.
We just talked about they need size, and then you add another small tweener.
They need to add a wing for sure. I think they need a wing for the playoffs.
But I think before that, they need size, man. Like do you feel confident with Chet versus Jokic in the playoffs?
Oh, definitely not. I don't feel confident with anybody against Jokic, but yeah, they need to be able to go to the 2 big lineup that the other teams in the West are going to be able to run out there. I mean, like Naz Reid would have been a perfect pickup for them over the summer. I mean, what a crazy fit that would be, right? Because it allows them to play big and small. But I don't know that guy's out there. I mean, we sort of have our dream scenario of, I don't know. Can they get Jared Allen or Clint Capella or someone like that? I don't know that they will.
What does Atlanta feel about Onyeka Okongwu? Like, I think that it's hard. Capella is a hard one to go get, and plus he's starter money guy, and so that sort of fundamentally changes the team. But it's sort of is it a Kelly Olynyk? Is it these are the sort of guys we're talking. And those are two very different players, obviously. Both of which would do some interesting things for them, I think.
I think Olynyk allows them to stay pretty similar to the way that they play now. I mean, he's a good ball mover. Jay King told us today that he's averaging like 7 assists per 36 minutes in Utah, which is a great stat. But he's a good ball mover and obviously can stretch the floor a little bit. So yeah, I think Olynyk is kind of an interesting guy for sure.
Yeah, Olynyk would actually be kind of a perfect fit for them because you can play him with Chet. And I think that kind of opens up a lot of things for them. But ultimately, it's for me, what I think will end up happening with OKC is they won't like the options that are out there. And we'll try to see how the playoffs look and then go from the playoffs, evaluate basically off of the playoffs instead of off of the regular season. That's what's going to be important for this front office. And I think that's going to be a big one. But I know we're going to move on here, but I just got to say again, none of you believed when I said SGA was, it was on tape. None of you believed he could be a guy that could carry a team. This one did. I did. I will be taking victory laps.
I think you're slightly misstating.
Yeah,
but you're both right and overstating. But you're right. Is he the hardest guy to stay in front of in the league right now?
Man, Jaylen Brown was literally in his shorts up around the free throw line, and Shea turns it into a layup through contact. Which, by the way, OKC, the whistle OKC got tonight, is what the whistle ought to be like for the entire league. And the whistle that the Celtics got tonight is what we need to get away from. That's the end of our analysis for that game. But I like the way that Oklahoma City was officiated. I don't like the way that Boston was officiated. They got too many soft fouls. Let's do it the other way. And also, Boston's too good. They don't need the help.
I want to answer Seth's question because that's the more fun part of the question. I don't give a shit about the refs, Dave.
Yeah.
If Ja wasn't out for the first part of the season, I think you would have a very interesting conversation between those two guys. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he's kind of like, except I almost think he has a more repertoire moves in terms of getting to the rim and finishing at the rim. He had a play. He did, climb off the pick and rolls in the first half. It was right towards the end. Spun off Drew Holiday, kept Holiday on his side, and finished with a lefty scoop high off the glass. Like when I saw that, I was just kind of like, oh, damn.
He's got, not only he has every move, but he does everything in rhythm, right? He's always able to get a shot up, like balanced shot. The one thing, again, I'm nitpicking, but down the stretch, the isolation, trying to get into his mid-range stuff. There was one possession late where he essentially goes down. There's no action, just goes into the little baseline fadeaway. Don't love that. I mean, I understand that this is the NBA, and if you're a star guy, those are the shots that you get to take. But if you want to win games, man, those are not winning shots.
X's and Mo's.
That's it.